Loudmouths, blowhards, windbags, gasbags, know-it-alls, and why I love them. An insightful analysis into why we need them to bloviate by Tom Seast. Talk, not text. I love it when people talk to each other, yell at each other, get angry with each other, heatedly discuss with each other. I especially love it when it happens with couples or people that are in business relationships. I love seeing the fire, the flame, the passion, the heated exchange of opinions, ideas, thoughts, expressions, and emotions. Emails, text, social feeds, and walls. We have become a society of walls, feeds, inboxes, outboxes, and blocked contacts. We can pretend to get along and agree and all have the same voice, but at the first sign of disagreement, we can move on to new friends, new walls, new interests, and erect electronic barriers to communications. I'm not going to argue with you. My dear mom and dad now have been married about a gazillion years, but I have fond memories of the phrase, "I'm not going to argue with you," from my days of being raised, but not growing up. My dad was hard of hearing, or hard of listening, or both, and any time Mom would say anything, my dad would say, "I'm not going to argue with you," which can be translated to, "I'm trying not to listen and ignore." Mom persisted. Mom would then persist or insist on making the point, which was usually something harmless like, "The birds are eating in the feeder," or something like that, until my dear dad actually heard and received the message. And the circle of life and the endless marriage would go on and on and on and on. Annoying at times. It could get annoying at times on long trips, but it was a sign or a symbol to me that the marriage would last forever. A lesson that I learned from a dear old lady in church when I was supposed to be doing my growing up. Grace Brown. Dear old Grace Brown passed away long ago, but I asked her one time about all the yelling and talking, and she explained to me that it was a good thing. You need to have people talking, she explained, because if they quit talking, they eventually split up. So I set about observing in a passive way and found that she was wise beyond her substantial years at the time. Fort Pickens. I rode my gentle iron steed 9.2 miles today down to Fort Pickens near the town of Pensacola Beach, Florida. Fort Pickens was erected in 1834, was kept active through World War II, and had the responsibility of protecting the harbor area of Pensacola. But it served as a Union fort during the Civil War that spanned 5 Aprils in the 1860s. They quit talking. Back then, the country quit talking and quit arguing, and the politicians started a war. A war that ultimately killed about as many people turned soldiers as COVID-19 has in the U.S. in the last couple of years. Full agreement. You see, we're not allowed to have civil or non-civil discussions or conversations anymore about COVID-19 and its forthcoming variants and the politicians' responses to the topic. We can have conversations and discussions as long as we follow the only allowable opinion of the day, based on the science, of course. All other conversation is discouraged, fact-checked, and then terminated. Loudmouths and blowhards. That's why I like the loudmouths, blowhards, windbags, gasbags, and know-it-alls, because while I disagree with many or even most of them, at least they are still trying to converse and discuss in a society that is discouraging individual thought and expression. I'll take the noise any day because the type of partnership lasts for a long, long time. Silence is deadly. I've been told that silence in relationships is deadly, as it also is with farts, and I still believe it to be true. And I hope that this country does not turn silent and begin to have one concerted, structured voice and direction. For this country became great based on diversity of people, thought, and opinion, not silence. Me. There are days when I give up and I go silent, as I lose hope for what the nation is doing to this country. But then I get on my bicycle and I wander through the countryside and experience the nature that will outlast humanity, and I get perspective and courage to keep going. Feel free to follow my ramblings at the links listed below.